Hey all, I'm gonna go book shopping today at Shamblin's, which is a big bookstore here in Jacksonville. My sister gave me a gift card and I'm gonna put it to use. So let's go. And we're back. Just gonna. Would you like to see some of the books I got at Shamblin's? I bet you would. So this I got this huge bullet stopper called The Eighth Life. It's translated for it's about a young lady who inherits a chocolate recipe, I guess you could say almost magical chocolate recipe from her family and in Russia in the late 19th century, and it's about the different romances and the different relationships she has over the course of the century and through the Russian Revolution. And I find the period of the Russian Revolution very fascinating, the Bolshevik Revolution. While I was there, I at the store, I wanted to see if they had any copies of 10 Days That Shook the World, which is a first-hand account of Lenin's revolution, but they didn't have it, so I guess I'm just gonna have to uh, maybe order that somewhere. You know, I also got Middlemarch by George Eliot, the classic of English provincial life from the 19th century. I've wanted to read more classics, and this one I've never really felt like a strong desire to read this until recently, but I was in a museum gift shop um, a few weeks ago, and they happened to have a copy of Middlemarch for sale, and I just haven't been able to stop thinking about it since. I don't know when I'm going to read this, but I'm definitely going to give this a chance. This is one of the most acclaimed masterpieces of British literature, and I have not read some good classic British literature in a while, so hopefully this will live up to its reputation. So that is Middlemarch by George Eliot. Next, I have The Last Werewolf, and I just stumbled on this. It just happened to catch my eye. Yeah, the title is self-explanatory. I like werewolves. We'll see how it goes. Paradise Lost by John Milton. I had been meaning to read this when I was working on my thesis for my MFA because there were. Uh, I have read excerpts of this previously, and I feel like there were some commonalities with the mythology I was trying to build with my book, but I just never got around to it. And so this is yet another classic. I do find it interesting. I found the one of my favorite works of art. I can't remember the name of the painter, but it's The Fallen Angel, and that's based on Paradise Lost. And so I do find the story of Lucifer's fall from grace fascinating. So Paradise Lost. Next is Notes from the Underground by Fyodor Dostoevsky, one of his masterworks. Pretty short compared to his other novels, and I do love. And I've only read three of the great Russian novels: Anna Karenina and The Death of Ivan Ilyich by Tolstoy, and also Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. I also am currently listening to the audiobook of The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky, and I love Russia. The Russian writers are so they're just so godlike in their darkness and in just their just this the depth of their fascination and their understanding and explorations of the human spirit. And I love reading them to expand my mind. So Notes from the Underground. And the last book I have here is the Yoga Sutras. I have been practicing yoga since 2016 because my back hurt, but it's only in the last year or so, or maybe 2 years, that I decided I wanted to make the practice of yoga a part of my lifestyle, and I wanted to understand not just the physical aspect, but also the philosophical aspects of it. And I'm hoping this will offer some wisdom for me. I love yoga because it is a way of expressing your spirituality in a physical sense. The poses, the postures, the exercises, they clear your body and they clear your mind, and it is a very performing a yoga practice is a very cleansing ritual. It is something that lets you it when you're really intent on the poses and on the physical practice, you give yourself a chance to just let your ego evaporate, to let you just be at one with everything around you. And I find that to be a more uh, constructive exploration of spirituality than sitting in church. At least that's from my perspective. Of course, nothing against people who like to go to church. So those are the Yoga Sutras. Don't know when I'll read this. It's not. I mean, it's not a long book. It's not a long book. This might be one of those books that I just kind of read little bits and pieces of here and there. So yeah. All right. So I moved to my bedroom and propped up my phone on some books because I'm tired of holding it. Um, I have been neglecting my writing. When on New Year's Eve, I wrote down a promise to myself that I would write at least 300 to 500 words a day, and I have definitely not done that. I have been focusing on. I mean, I haven't really been focusing on anything. I have not. been able to stick to a schedule or daily routine like I hoped I would, but it is still January. Um, Try to think of January as a practice month for the rest of the year. It's your grace period. I have been dealing with doubts about my writing, like every writer does. I this project I'm working on, I kind of hate, or maybe not hate, but I'm just so frustrated with everything that comes out because I'm just spewing things onto the page and it seems so nonsensical. And I did write a very bare bones outline prior to beginning work on this because that's really the only kind of outlining I can do. I am not one of those people who can just meticulously plan every single thing that is going to happen in my book. I am what George R. R. Martin would call a gardener as far as my writing style goes. But I cannot, I can't give myself a rigid a rigid framework as a writer because that's just not how my creativity works. And writing is hard. It is very hard. To choose to commit to the life of a writer is something that requires courage, and it is something a lot of people who attempt it are unable to stick with. But I do love writing. I do love stories, and if you care about writing as a craft, you will find a way to make yourself do it. You will turn it into a habit. Um, that works with everything. I try to find parallels between writing and yoga. That the hardest part about doing yoga is choosing to do yoga. I look at it the same way as drawing, as illustrating, because I care about creating things, and I care about. I think writing can be a spiritual act. It is a way to give of yourself to create something out of nothing. And as these words are coming out of my mouth, I realize how pretentious they are, but that is how I feel. And writing is something I, in a way, have a love-hate relationship with because I find catharsis in putting words on paper and turning ideas that exist only in my head, into something on a piece of paper that someone can read and that I can share with. Because writing is how we share our ideas. Writing is how you can connect with people on the other side of the world and 100 or 500 or 1,000 years after you die. And I am embarrassed with myself that I cannot find the discipline to do that every day like I know I should. Um, but I do care enough about it to find a way to find a routine. And I think that's kind of all I have to say right now. So thank you for watching. Uh, Keep reading and keep writing. I'll see you next time. Bye.